Welcome everybody, how are you? Look at this example with me. Limited when x approximated to 0, 1 subtract e power 2x over 1 minus e power x. We must replace them by multiplication negative by numerator here and numerator, and replace it. Limited when x approximated to 0, it will be e power 2x minus 1 over e power x minus 1. The result here about numerator, it will be equal to, if we divide it by x, then limited when x approximated to 0, e power 2x minus 1 over x, we divided by x here, numerator, and limited when x approximated to 0, e power x minus 1 over x. The result here, it will be 2 about numerator and numerator 1, so the result will be equal to limited when x approximated to 0, e power ax minus 1 over e power x minus 1. We can find the result by divided by x, numerator and denominator, to find the rule e power ax minus 1 and e power bx minus 1. The result here about the top, it will be a, and limited when x approximated to 0, about denominator it will be b, so the result will be a over b. Limited when x approximated to 0, log 1 plus x to the base 3 over sine to x. We can divide it by x numerator and denominator. Right here, limited x approximated to 0, here log 1 plus x, log to the base 3 about x. We can divide them, and here sine 2x over x, and here limited when x approximated to 0. We have the rule here. This rule, look, angle 1 plus x over x, it's meaning what? It's meaning log e, the result here e to the base 3. Look at in your mind this rule. The result here will be log e to the base 3, because 1 plus x over x, when x approximated to 0, it will be e. Put your mind this rule. 1 plus x over x, when x approximated to 0, it will be e. And here sine 2x over x, we can write here 2 in numerator and multiplication by 2 outside. The result here will be equal 1 by using the rule 1 times 2, so the result will be 2 multiplication by 1. It will be half log e to the base 3, half log e to the base 3. Limited when x approximated to 0, log 1 plus 2x over 5 power x minus 1. Okay, I will divide it by x numerator to denominator to find the rule. Okay, right here x about log function 1 plus 2x over 5 power x minus 1 over x, and here limited when x approximated to 0. The result about the power here, what? Look at here the top. Put in your mind 1 plus 2x over x, we get the result the last question, 1 plus x over x, it will be e, but we have here 2, so the result will be e power 2. About log e, if we cancel 2 here, if we cancel 2 here, the result will be log e, so with the result will be about the numerator, it will be log e power 2, and here 5 power x minus 1 over x, it's meaning ln 5, and then you can simplify it by drop 2 outside here, drop 2 here, 2 multiplication by log e over ln 5, and then we can simplify it, it will be 2 log e divided by ln 5, it's meaning log 5 to the base e, log 5 to the base e, and then we can write 2 multiplication by log e, multiplication by, write the inverse about 5 and e, write log e to the base 5. It's the result 2 log e multiplication by log e to the base 5. Understood? Again, 2 log e multiplication by log e to the base 5. Limited when x approximated to 0 to power x minus 1 over square root about x plus 1 minus 1. In this example, if we put x here, the result will be 0 over 0 undefined. So we must thinking about these steps by multiplication by the conjugate about denominator, square root about x plus 1 here, and here square root about x plus 1 plus 1. And then limited when x approximated to 0 to power x minus 1, and here square root about x plus 1 over 1, and the multiplication between two conjugate here, the square root here, it will be power 2, it will be x plus 1, power 2 about the first, subtract power 2 about the second, because we have to conjugate here multiplication between them. And then will be limited when x approximated to 0 about this function to power x minus 1, we can cancel negative 1 by 1, it will be x. Multiplication by limited when x approximated to 0 about this function, x plus 1 over 1 about numerator here plus 1. The result here, it will be ln 2, it's the rule, 2 power x minus 1 over x, it will be ln 2. Multiplication by limited when x approximated to 0 here, put 0, 0 plus 1 equal 1, 1 plus 1, 2, 2 divided by 1 equal 2. It will be 2 multiplication by ln 2. We can write 2 here in the top, the power, it will be ln 2 power 2, so the result will be ln 4. The result will be ln 4 about this example. It's very important to know these steps. Look at this example, limited when e power x minus e power sine x over x minus sine x, x approximated to 0. If we put x equals 0, the result will be 0 over 0 undefined. So we must thinking about this rule. We know e power x minus 1 over x, it will be 1. Okay, can you thinking with me? Yeah, we can write e power sine x outside, height common factor between two terms here in the top. Right, limited when x approximated to 0, e power sine x, height common factor between two terms. The result here will be what? E power 1 subtract sine x. If we multiplication between them, the result will be e power x subtract y by 1. And we have here x subtract sine x. The power here was x. Again, e power x minus sine x, multiplication e power sine x, it will be e power x. Okay, and the base here, x minus sine x in the base. Look at the base here and the power, it's like, so the result here will be equal 1 about this function. If we put limited when x approximated to 0, e power sine x multiplication by limited when x approximated to 0 about this function, e power x subtract sine x subtract by 1 over x minus sine x. The base here like the power, so the result here will be 1, e power angle subtract by 1 over this angle, the result will be 1. Multiplication by equal what? Put x equals 0 here, it will be e power sine 0. Sine 0 equals 0. E power 0 multiplication by 1. E power 0 equal 1. 1 times 1 equal 1. So the result will be 1 about this example. It's very important. You must thinking about this properties. If you get e power sine x outside coefficient between two terms here, the base here which must be like the power. So about this rule here, we have the rule here. We have the rule. This rule tell me the result will be equal 1 because the power here like the base, and here put x equals 0 here, e power 0 equal 1, 1 times 1 equal 1, so the result will be equal 1. This example like the last question here, we can write e power x coefficient between two terms here. I will write limited when x subtract 0 approximated to 0, moving 6 to left hand side, and here write e power 6, hide common factor between two terms. Here it will be e power x subtract by 6 subtract by what? By 1, because e power 6 divided itself equal 1, and we have x minus 6 in numerator. Look at this rule. This rule, you know, if you put limited when x subtract by 6 approximated to 0 about e power 6 multiplication by limited when x subtract by 6 approximated to 0 about this function e power x minus 6 minus 1 over x minus 6. The result here about this space, it will be what? It will be 1. Okay, x minus 6 approximated to 0. Okay, the power here lies the base, so the result will be equal 1. And here we can move 6 left hand side here to right hand side, x approximated to 6. Okay, the result will be what? It's constant. It will be e power 6 multiplication by 1. It will be e power 6. The result will be e power 6. Limited when x approximated to pi over 2, 1 plus cosine x all power sec x over 4. Look at sec and cosine. We know sec reverse about cosine, and if we put cosine here, cosine x and cosine pi over 2, cosine pi over 2 equals 0, they're limited. Here cosine x approximated to 0. This function here, write 1 plus cosine x, and here sec, it's meaning what? Sec, it's meaning 1 over cosine x. Look at here, cosine x and 1 over cosine x. It's meaning limited when cosine x approximated to 0, 1 plus cosine x all power 1 over cosine x all power 4. The result here, we know it will be e. You know the rule? The result here will be e. All power 4, it will be e power 4. The result will be e power 4. It's the result. E power 4. Limited 1 plus 3 tan power 2x all power cotan power 2x. We know cotan reverse about tan, so we can change it and write limited when x approximated to 0 about 1 plus 3 tan power 2x all power 1 over tan power 2x. We have the same angle here, this angle, and this angle here. So the result here, if we cancel 3 here, this will be e. So the result will be e power 3. Again, the rule tell us, okay, you can write here tan left hand side, right hand side, tan power 2x approximated to tan 0 equals 0. So this angle here, or this unknown here, quality is this. So the result will be e power, the coefficient here 3. You must know this rule. Okay, look at here, limited when x approximated to 0 was the function 4 sine power 3 about x plus sine pi over 2 equal 1, and we know cosec is the inverse about sine. We can write here 1 over sine power 3 about angle x. Look at here, sine power 3x, and this angle, it's like it. And if we put here sine x equals sine 0 equals 0, and power 3 here, it's we like it. You can write limited when sine power 3x equals to 0, and write 1 plus 4 sine power 3 of x all power 1 over sine power 3x. It's like it. So the result will be e power coefficient here power 4. You must know this rule and pay attention about details about all steps. Okay, look at this example. You can simplify it by factorize numerator and denominator. Right, limited when x approximated to infinity, factorize it, 2 parentheses, write x times x, 12 equal 3 times 4, write negative and negative, and write x and x two numbers, multiplication by them equals 16, and if z equal 8, it's meaning 4 and 4, and negative, 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 and negative, and 4 and 4, all to power 2x minus 4. You can cancel this expression by this expression here, so the result will be limited when x approximated to infinity. X subtract by 3 over x minus 4, all power 2x minus 4. We can simplify it by divided by x here from all terms, numerator and denominator. Okay, limited when x approximated to infinity, it will be 1 subtract 3 over x, 1 subtract 4 over x, all power 2x. Multiplication limited when x approximated to infinity. I will distribute this limited to limited here by right the base here and the base here again power negative 4. Okay, x subtract by 3 over right here 1 minus 3 over x. Okay, again 1 minus 3 over x over 1 minus 4 over x, all power negative 4. I write the like limited here, but I distributed it. Why? To find the result in the rule. We know the rule here about the first, it will be what? 1 subtract 1 over x, it will be e. So the result here, it will be, if it was positive, the result will be e power 3, but it's negative, so the result will be e power negative 3 times 2, it will be e power negative 6. E power 2 times negative 1, it will be negative 2 times 3, it will be negative 6. E power negative 6, and here we have negative 4 times 2, it will be negative 8. The result here, it will be again e power negative 3 times 2 negative 6, and here e power negative 4 times 2 negative 8. And here if we put x equal infinity here, 3 over infinity equals 0, 1 minus 0 equal 1, and here 4 over infinity equals 0, 1 minus 0 equal 1, 1 over 1 equal 1, 1 power a number equal 1. So the result here, it will be 1, and e power negative 6 plus 8. We must change the sign here because we distributed or we divided the base here. Negative to negative equal positive, so the result will be e power 2. The result here, it will be e power 2 about this example. It's very important. Okay, look at here, limited 1 plus 2x plus x power 2. It's a perfect term here. Limited x puts it to 0, about 1 plus x all power 2, multiplication by 1 over 2x, multiplication inside power and outside power. It will be limited when x approximated to 0, 1 plus x all power 2, it will be what? 1 over x. So the result will be e, because 1 plus x all power 1 over x, the result will be equal e. Look at this example. Notify limited x approximated to 0, e power x plus b power x plus c power x minus 3 over x. You can use the rule here. Limited when x approximated to 0, change negative 3, it will be negative 1 and negative 1 and negative 1. You can write a power x minus 1 over x. Multiplication by limited when x approximated to 0, b power x minus 1 over x. Multiplication by limited when x approximated to 0, c power x minus 1 over x. I cancelled negative 3 and write negative 1 and negative 1 and negative 1 and 8 to find the rule. We know the rule here, it will be e power what? Here limited when x approximated to 0, e power x minus 1, it will be ln a, and here ln b, and here ln c. Okay, and we have here positive behind it, right? Positive because it's 8. Okay, the first limited and second limited and third limited. It will be ln, we can simplify it, ln a b c, multiplication between them, a and b and c. Look at here, limited n approximated to infinity, and multiplication between len n plus 1 subtract len n. We have the rule here about subtract, meaning divided between two base here. It will be len, limited when n to infinity. Write n outside here and write len n plus 1 over n. And we can cancel n here and write in the power because we have the rule about len. We know n plus 1 over n. Here, if we divided n divided by n, it will be limited, where len here about n here in the top, about the power, about this fraction, right? N divided by n equal 1 plus 1 over n. Okay, it will be very easy here. It will be e. The result about here e, it will be len e, and then e will be equal 1. Understood? Again, we have subtract, convert to divided between two numbers here, and here limited when n equals to infinity. Len outside, I drop here n to the power, and n divide n equal 1 divide n 1 over n. The result here it will be e. The result about it e, len e equal 1, so the result will be 1. Limited x approximated to a about 1 plus 1 over x all power to x e power 2. If x infinity approximated what to infinity, then a will be infinity. This is the rule. The result will be e power 2. If limited when x approximated to 0, 1 plus kx all power 4 over x e power negative 12. We know the result about this limited equal e power k times 4. E power k times 4, it will be 4k. The result will be a power negative 12. Base equals the base, power equals the power, then 4k will be equal negative 12, then k equal negative 3. Limited x approximated to infinity, 1 plus a plus 2 over x e power 4. We know the result here will be e power this expression. Then the result about this limited, it will be e power this expression e plus 2. He tell us the result will be e power 4. Then e will be equal 2 because 2 plus 2 equal 4. If limited about this function x over x plus k power x equal e, then k equal what? We asked about k. We can solve this example by divided by x numerator and numerator to find the rule. Limited x to infinity here, it will be 1 over 1 plus k over x, it all power x equal what? He tell us the result will be equal e. Look at here, 1 over 1 plus k over x all power x. We have the rule here, it will be e power k in the example in numerator, because you can distribute it 1 here and limited 1 plus k over x all power x when x approximated to infinity. It will be what here in numerator? The result will be e power k in numerator. Okay, the result in numerator, so it will write in numerator here e power negative k. I write the result here about the numerator e power k. Understood? It will be 1 over e power k equal e. Then e power negative k, it will be e. I will write e power k from denominator to numerator. So e power negative k, it will be equal e. Then here k will be what? Negative k equal 1. The base equals the base, so the power equals the power. Say then k will be equal negative 1. K will be equal negative 1. Okay, understood? Limited x approximated to 0, 10 power sine x minus 1 over 10x. We know this angle must be like this angle. To find the result will be len the constant here 10. So we can cancel 10x equal sine over cosine. I will cancel it and write limited x approximated to 0, 10 power sine x subtract by 1 over sine x divided by cosine. Write cosine outside here. Okay, cosine x, because Sine x divided by cosine, it will be 10, and write cosine in denominator up here. Understood? 1 divided 1 over cosine theta, it will be cosine theta or cosine x. And distributed, limited between them. It will be limited when x approximated to infinity. 10 power sine x minus 1 over sine x. Multiplication limited when x approximated to infinity. About x equal to 0, 0. About cosine x. Put x equals 0 here, cosine x equal 1, so the result here it will be 1, and here it will be ln absolute because the base equal the power here, it will be ln constant ln n, so the result will be ln 10. This is the result.